everybody, welcome back to another Girlfriends Chit Chat. I am your host, Amira Bay, and I am excited for another show tonight because I am excited about our guests that we have coming to the platform tonight. Because trust me, it's that time of the year, y'all. Tax season has come to a very end for a lot of us, but our finances still looking kind of shaky, of course. But we don't want to hold up the show tonight because, of course, we want this guest to come in tonight and really give you some great information about how to handle your finances. So for you all who have never been to our platform, my name is Amira Bay. I am the host of the Girlfriends Chit Chat Show. And here on this platform, we talk life, business, and trust me, everything in between. So let me go ahead and bring in one of my girlfriends tonight. Well, who I got tonight with me? Miss Leslie Thomas of She Promotes Network. Come on in here, girl.
Hey, what's going on, sister?
Not much, girl. I'm so glad to have you with us tonight, girl. I done missed you these last couple of shows.
I know, but you know what? We've been doing what we do. We've been handling business, but it's all good. I'm happy to be back, y'all. Miss you.
Look, I'm glad to have you in the room with me tonight. I was like, yes, I got my Leslie with me tonight. I'm so excited.
Come on, let's do it.
We got another girlfriend with us tonight. None other than who? Miss Doctor. Now I'm going to tell you, Doctor, y'all. You better get it right, y'all. Dr. Constance Mason. Come on in here, girl, because she our new girlfriend for tonight.
Yay!
Hey, ladies. We are so excited to have you with us this evening.
Thank you.
We are so excited. Yes, because we're going to dive deep tonight. But I want everybody to kind of, we always talk, we go right into the business dive all the time. But I want everybody to really to get to know who you are. Yes. So I want you to kind of tell everybody about who you are and how you came to be the person that you are today, sis.
Yes. How I came to be who I am today. Well, first off, Dr. Constance Mason here in the house.
Yes.
I grew up in the inner city of Baltimore. Shout out to B Moore. And was born to a young single mom of two baby girls. She had little girls by the time she was 17 years old, and I'm the baby. And so, I always like to give honor to my mom because I watched her be resilient before that was even a thing, before we even knew what that looked like or what that word was. I watched her with tears streaming down her face, get knocked down and get back up, get knocked down and get back up, and say to us, my sister and myself, I want you to be better than me.
Yes.
And say to us, I want you to go and shoot for your dreams.
Yes.
And we lived in quite a blight environment at that time. And so when she's telling us to shoot for the stars and be the best we can possibly be, I'm like, how? Where? What?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because we can't go out and be something that we're not seeing modeled before us.
Exactly.
And so, when we have our young children and grandchildren and even people that, we communicate with at church and that kind of thing, I was able to learn from many people in my space, not just my household, but members of the church. I never forget, there were some older ladies, elders at the church that I looked up to. And those women really, really poured into me and helped me become who I am today, which in all actuality is somebody who loves life, somebody who's a lifetime learner, somebody who is definitely passionate about seeing the growth in other people and linking arms one in another to say, you know what, I see you.
Yeah.
Significance is really, really important. And I'm saying that because as someone who experienced childhood trauma and feeling insignificant all the way into my 30s, I could recognize that in other people.
Yeah.
So I link arms with one another, especially my Black women in business. And I let them know that regardless of where you are in your situation, you can make the changes to get to the place that you want to be. And so regardless of all the titles and all that jazz, it's awesome. But I definitely didn't start there. And it's not who I am. Who I am is somebody who's significant, resilient, and wants to link arm with other people so we can do this together.
Yes. Girl, we can go and shut the show down. I mean, you said it all already tonight. Yeah. Now, my thing is, as we look as ourselves as women in business, how did you end up navigating through life and deciding on what you felt like you wanted to do, how you want to be of service to individuals, no matter what walk of life they came from, how the hardships, the good times, the bad times, how did you navigate to find where you placed yourself?
I always like to say that, financial services or the financial industry, I did not choose this industry.
Yeah.
I love to say that it chose me. And
Yes.
again, it came from childhood trauma. How many
Mhm.
times do we know we can find our purpose in life based on the things that we no longer want to experience?
Yes.
We
That's true.
always want to say, hey, I don't look like what I've been through. I've overcome so many things. And oftentimes we want to minimize the things that
Yes.
we've gone through because we want to, talk about the good stuff. No, no,
Right.
no. Talk about the bad stuff too,
Yeah.
because that helps to let someone else know where you come from and how you got where
Mhm.
you are. And
Right.
to also give them hope to know that they can get out of their circumstances too. And so this financial industry, and
Yeah.
I must say, that is not a lot of us, people that look like me, meaning there's less than 3% of Black licensed female advisors.
Yeah.
Less
Yeah.
than 3%. And so
Wow.
there's not people beating down the door trying to
Yeah.
give me opportunities. Let me just say that.
You gotta create them.
And so I had to create the opportunities
Yeah.
for myself. But I will also say this, coming up in poverty, it was some hurtful times.
Yeah.
It was some struggle opportunities to grow.
Right.
But I wanted to do better for myself. And so I
Right.
started Googling a lot of things in my young teens, early 20s. I started Googling regular things, how to get a bank account, how to get
Yeah.
a credit card, how to get my first apartment,
Right.
how to get even a driver's license. These were basic things that I feel like everyone knows how to do by a certain
Right.
age,
Right.
that we ended up having to Google to figure it out because it wasn't being modeled before us. And
Mhm.
those kind of things, I didn't know it was called personal development and professional development at the time, but
Right.
that's actually what I was doing. I was doing stuff for free because I had
Mhm.
not a penny to my name. And
Right.
I was Googling ways to improve my life because I knew my babies were watching me.
Right.
I
Right.
knew that I had to be their example, just like my mom had to be my example. And I was like, I don't want them to see me struggling. And I
Yeah.
don't want them one day to look back at me, even though, sometimes hardships can build character. I didn't
Right.
want them to look back at me one day and be like, oh, my life sucks because
Yeah.
kids will
Yeah.
tell you stuff, when they get a little older. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, I wanted to be the person that they could look at and be proud of and say,
Mhm.
hey, I watched her pick herself up and
Right.
dust herself off and move forward. So
Right.
when I started learning about money, it was through Google, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I had a girlfriend of mine who introduced me to a financial services business because I had been
Mhm.
working 2 and 3 jobs prior to that.
Right.
She introduced me to the financial services world, and I had been Googling stuff just for my own personal development. I didn't know anything about having a license and being able to help other people. But she
Right.
was like, I'm telling you, you're passionate already because I see the changes that you're making in your life. You
Right.
don't mind sharing information with other people because you be so super excited about it. You can't shut up anyway. And she's like, why don't you just do this for a living? Make some money
Right.
from it. And at the time that she initially asked me, I was working full time. I had younger children. I only had daycare for the jobs that I had. And
Right.
I was like, I don't have no extra time and nobody to help me with these kids.
Yeah.
And so I put her off for almost 7 years.
Whoa.
Ooh, and 7.
Shout out to our mentors. Shout out to
Yeah.
who see the greatness in us that we don't see ourselves.
That's
Shout
right.
out to her not giving up on me, right? And actually kept at it. Like, hey, I know you. Are you ready now? You got any help now? You ready? And when I did take her up on it, I went in, I jumped in, feet, arms, everything. I jumped in, got my licenses in about 2 weeks, and that was January of 2009. And I have not turned back since.
Wow.
Wow.
Gosh, girl.
2009.
Woo.
I'm
Yeah.
over here like, yes, I felt everything. I felt all of that.
Mhm.
There's so many things. I was trying to pin out. I was like, okay, I want to talk to her about that. I want to talk to her about that. One key thing that you said, and I think it's so instrumental, is that you are being the model. I'm being the model. Amira and every other Black businesswoman is serving as a model for all other little Black girls, little girls of color, and being the example. And like you're right, I came from a very small town, so I can appreciate what you're saying. And I love the fact that you pointed out, where you came from to now. I think it's so important for us as women in business. We are, people see the glamorous shots, the posts, the Facebook, the IG, the Twitter, TikTok, but no one knows what it took to be who we are. that we didn't just pop up one day and we just became Instagram famous, or we put these beautiful posts up, but no one knows the story. And I think it's so increasingly important that we share our story so that people don't think, oh my God, this was an overnight success.
Yep.
There were tears, there were struggles, there were, trying to figure out, how do I formulate my passion into a profit? Because for me, I would give everybody, free credit repair if I could. I really sincerely would, but I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't think that would work out. But it's because it's my passion. I want to see people thrive and move. So you stated about, your mom. I love the fact that you can give credence and give love to your mom, because I love God. God specializes in that, what people call the underdog, the counted out. And look what beautiful, what she's produced in you, because she obviously was your model, your inspiration. What do you tell your girls now just about your journey and how you got here? I mean, you shared that, but what's been that conversation like with your children about how they should move forward?
That is a great question, Leslie. Actually, I have a daughter. She's our middle child.
Yeah.
And when I decided to take my friend up on that offer to get into the financial services business, my older two children were in middle school at the time. And how many know that is a critical time for young people?
Yes.
Before high school. Middle school is something to make or break a child, right? And so when I started my entrepreneurship journey, I was able to go up to the middle school and check out my kids and their friends and be on that yellow bus going to Six Flags. And I tell you, like, it was the first week that I decided to go full out entrepreneurship. They had a trip to Six Flags, right? So I marveled in the fact that I did not have to ask anybody if I could have the day off, right?
Yes.
To get on this bumpy yellow school bus to go to Six Flags. You couldn't tell me nothing. You would have thought I was going to Taj Mahal or something, okay?
Girl, it was the pride on you. I'm certain you were like, what? Huh? What?
Listen,
I don't have to ask. I'm here.
Thank you, Leslie. I was the only mom parent on that bus.
Wow.
And it's not to say that the other parents didn't want to go, right? Didn't want to have fun with their kids, didn't want to be a chaperone, but they had to work.
Yes, that's it.
And that was the first time that I really got an idea of like, wow, that decision that you made, now you can be here for your kids and these other kids, right? Yes. You can make sure that they're okay. They're not getting lost. All of these and it's little stuff, but it's big, right? That was big for me, right? And so I was able to see what was going on with my kids, because if I continued to work those 2 and 3 jobs, I would have missed out on so much, of those critical years where they might be tempted to do this, or they might be getting the wrong kind of peer pressure for that. And still to this day, and I'll go back to my daughter, a lot of my kids, middle school and high school friends call me mom.
Yes.
Because you were around.
Yes, they inbox me, they DM me to this day. I'm able to show up for them with their experiences. And I can't say that I actually had a intentional conversation with my daughter, but she was watching me and executing the stuff that I was executing. So much so that in the 7th grade, this little girl was making $100 a day. Okay, $100 a day selling cupcakes at her school. And she was an A student. She was also a cheerleader. She was a mentor, right? She was like 4 and 5 different things at that age. And she would get off and they had to go to school from like 6 in the morning till 5 in the evening. She would get out of school. We would go to the supermarket and get her wholesale supplies for her cupcakes and everything. She would come home, make her 2 batches of cupcakes, because she had pre-orders. Okay. Then she would take them back.
Pre-orders.
Pre-orders, y'all. She would take them batches back to school and sell out in 5 minutes.
Wow.
$100 a day, right? And then she transitioned that, and she had a jewelry business, and then she was doing image consulting for proms. Okay. Then she wrote a book at 20 years old. I hadn't even wrote a book yet, right? She wrote a book at 20 years old. Right. My daughter watched me go to networking events. She went with me to networking events.
And they should go with us.
Yes, she went with me, so much so that the women's organizations that I was joining and becoming a member of and getting to know the people, they knew her too.
Wow.
Right? So they
She said I already got a present.
13, 14, all the way up to 24 now.
Wow.
So my friends and supporters became her friends and supporters, to the point that when she had her book launch, it was so many 30 and 40-year-olds in there. They was like, yes, Kiana, because they have watched her grow and they wanted to be a part of her moments.
Yes. Because they felt like, they had watched it grow. And again, they watched it. If only people knew the journey to get to, well, I'm going to call it, get to be great, honey. Because that's what we start. We want to be great. And just to see that journey, we need to be telling more of our story.
Right.
See, not just where we go.
That's true. Because that's you. We talk about our successes, but then, like you said, look at your daughter. She was emulating.
Yeah.
She was emulating you. And she probably, in a way you kind of say, dog, she was really watching me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You really watching? Oh, you really want to go to a networking event?
Exactly.
That's just amazing within itself. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That makes you feel good as a parent because you're doing exactly what you were meant to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you possess that talent and that skill. But then at this point, now you're leveraging everything that you waited 7 years to do.
Yeah.
So now tell us how we done got to the I'm licensed now as a now we moved into the license phase. What is that looking like now? Because we were transitioning.
Right.
So the first license that I got was the life insurance license. Then I eventually picked up my health insurance license. Right. I wanted to be the jack of all trades. I picked up my mortgage loan originator's license. I picked up my securities investments license. I wanted to go into people's house and do whatever it was that they needed. I didn't want them to have to go nowhere else. And if it was something that I couldn't do, that's where the networking comes in. I could say to this person, hey, you need a CPA? I got one for you. Oh, you need a freaking plumber? I got one for you. Because I've been to all kinds of, I love being a resource for people, right? Because there's nothing worse than wanting to do something or needing something in your life and having the slightest idea how you were going to get it done. Even if it's not related to money, maybe you have the money, but you just don't know who to go to that you can trust, right? And you don't want to waste money on things or trying to DIY everything. Yeah. And so I am a firm believer of getting in spaces and organically networking. Yeah. Dr. George Fraser, I don't know if you guys know him from Power Networking. Dr. Fraser, he says that wealth is the side effect of financial literacy.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Side effect of financial literacy.
I love it. I tell it to my clients. Yes.
But he also said, when you show up to do business with other people and you're networking, he says, seek to give first. With no ulterior motives. Seek to give first, and you will always benefit in the end. Right. And that's what I had been doing my whole entire career, not knowing that that was like an intentional thing that he had been doing his whole life. But I was just doing it because I knew how hard it was for me to be ignorant in a lot of different ways.
Wow.
Right. To just not know, that hurts. Right. To just not know, and you feel stuck and you can't move forward. So I tried to pick up every license I could. That way, when somebody needed something, I could do it. And if I couldn't do it, I had networks of people from business consultants, bankers, real estate agents, everybody. And therefore, I could still help. I could say, hey, let me make this warm introduction. Let me send this email between the three of us, or however it worked. And so that's one of the things that I pride myself on, is being resourceful for people. So fast forward to now. Last night, ladies, I officially submitted my paperwork for my registered investment advisory firm. And I was tripping because I was so scared to press the submit button. And my daughter was sitting there like, Ma, if you don't press that button.
But now, wait a minute now, but you not know that's how it is when you got somebody looking over your shoulder. They always like, hey, what you waiting on? Like you've been doing 1 through 15 all this time. Why you worried about 16 all of a sudden? What's the hold up? What you waiting on? Hit the submit button. I think it's just the anticipation. It's the nervousness. It's always like that. But the biggest thing I think of is that you know you can do it.
Yeah.
You know you can do it.
I have
Just
been
do
putting
it.
this off for so long. Life happening, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the fear, all of the regulations and
Yeah.
stuff. And I was just like, okay, it's do or die, right?
Yeah.
All I had to do was press that button. And my daughter was looking at me like, if you don't press
Look
that
at
button.
your face.
You're right. I mean,
But it's what I put in her, right? Because if she was sitting there doing the same thing, I would be like,
We always, but we always second guess ourselves.
always.
That's just natural. She will even do it.
Yep.
She's doing the opposite right now. But I guarantee you, if it
Mhm.
was her sitting there in the chair waiting to hit the submit button,
That's
you're
what
gonna
I'm
look at her like this. I'm
Yep.
just
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah.
No.
And I did it. I pressed the button. Now I registered for a couple of different states, of course, my resident state, but Maryland and I think I did Texas, I want to say. But
Right.
anyway, you know, each state has their own processing time. So some of them is faster, some of them will take several weeks. They say it could take up to 12 weeks for
Right.
some of these states. But I already heard back from Maryland already in less than 24 hours.
Look
so
at
I have
that ain't number God.
form.
That ain't number
I'm
God.
like,
See, it was already orchestrated. It was already in the plan. You already knew it. You just need to do it.
Yeah.
That was it.
But
And I love the fact, what you said earlier. You said that you were ignorant to the fact. How many of us can really say that? That I'm dumb.
Yes.
I was stupid for that. I should have known better. You know, we don't say that because people then get the perception that you're perfect. That,
Right.
you know, that you don't Dr. Constance, she don't go through anything. You know, she got it made.
Yeah.
Look how good she look. You know, she always looking good. She get on stage, she work it, she know what she talking about, but you just don't know. I ain't know that. What you talking about? No, don't talk me up like that.
Yeah.
You know, don't do it. Because you know, you gotta check people like, that's not how it started. No.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. Because we can't go from the beginning and jump to the very end.
Right. There is a middle. There is a journey.
Oh, definitely. Definitely the
But
journey.
if you don't tell that story of the middle, then nobody ever knows. Just like people probably say, oh, I didn't know your daughter, you know, had a desire to become an entrepreneur too. And she started emulating who you were. And then before you know it, she wrote her own book, wrote her first book before you even wrote a book.
Yeah,
it just shows you when people don't know who you are. That's why I tell people all the time is we know the business side of you, but I want to know who the woman is inside of you.
Yes, that's a great
and once we
point.
know that, it gives us a better perception of who you are.
Yes. You know what, Amara, that's a great segue into a topic that I want to bring up because I've been in this business financial services now for over 13 years. But the first 10 of those years, I was mostly working for like insurance carriers and that kind of thing. And in that space, there's a lot of compliance, right? Just like in the advisory space, there's a lot of compliance.
Right.
And I did a lot of workshops and seminars and educational things for the community. And we weren't scripted, but there was a lot of pre-done things for us, like our PowerPoints, our brochures, you know, the learning concepts. We had to use that information. So there was really no room for you to show up and be who you were. You had to show up and say what was on the screen or what was in the pamphlet or the flyer. And so I had gotten so used to doing that. And I didn't even know that who I was in the midst of that was important. And so, yes, I was getting clients and yes, I was, you know, doing products and services and, you know, educating people. I was doing all of that, but I never, ever shared my story because I felt like, well, they don't want us to do that. And why is that even relevant?
Exactly.
But it was only until, again, I started networking in some certain women's groups where they were like, listen, you have been through so much that a lot of these other fellow women entrepreneurs can glean from.
Yeah.
Why don't you get up here and share your story? So they would give you opportunities to do your pitch, or they would give you opportunities to introduce yourself and that kind of thing. And I wasn't used to that. But once I started doing it and people would come up to me and be like, I really resonated with what you said. That had nothing to do with insurance, right? It had nothing to do with the rule of 72 or any other thing that I would have got and taught. And at that point, I was like, people want to know the authentic you, just like you were saying, Amara. They want to know who's behind the curtain. Why do I want to do business with you versus the young lady across the room? Because, you know, it's always more people in the room. Y'all do the same stuff, right? But why would I choose you over her? Do I resonate with your story? Are you a wife and I'm a wife? Are you a mom and I'm a mom? Whatever it is would make somebody more attracted to you. And so once I started sharing my story, I want to say it was around 2018. I mean, my business just took a whole different level because I was like, listen, this is who I am. And I'm on a journey and I'm growing, and you can go on that journey with me. No shame, right? No shame.
No shame.
We're in that direction together. And people love it.
Let me tell you what's so interesting about what you said, and that's awesome. I started off with a company. I'm a certified credit repair consultant, you know, the whole 9 yards. But I started off with the company initially. I had the already pre-populated PowerPoints, the whole 9 yards. But what I realized is although the overall service was okay, I still felt like we weren't able to tap into who we really needed to tap into. You spoke earlier about the financial literacy piece. My goal has always been that, yeah, I mean, we can repair your credit all day long, but the problem is that people are bound to repeat what they don't fix initially. So that's why I've pushed in my business transparency, but also the education. I'm like, I could sit here and tell you I can get something off your credit report, but I need you to know where you went wrong first. Because if not, then you're just going to keep repeating the cycle. And then you're going to go have a conversation with your daughter, and you're going to have a conversation with your sister. You're going to talk to Uncle so-and-so. And then everybody's going to hear, oh, here's that. But nobody's getting a full understanding why. So that is why the transparency is so important, because my clients can relate to my initial struggle and what I did to get beyond that. And I get to dispel the myths all day long. And I'm certain you get to do that. Tell me, how does I'm a female entrepreneur, I'm looking to follow in your footsteps. What's my conversation with you?
To do it professionally?
Yes.
Well, it depends, like I said, because there's all kind of licenses out there, various directions that a person can go into the financial services space. But I was a financial coach for quite some time. And financial coaches don't have to get any kind of regulatory licenses. You could literally just know a little bit more than your client and be able to charge for that information that you can provide, right? And part of that knowledge that you have is through your own personal experiences. And I tell people, and I like how you said that you had been through some stuff, you know, probably with your own credit and cleaned it up. And so I tell people, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, probably got about 3-4 t-shirts, right? And when I say, they're like, what do you mean? Oh, honey, I've had bankruptcies before with an S. I've had foreclosure before. Insufficient funds, drained my 401k plans, you know, didn't know the first thing about, you know, how to repair my credit. And I had to look it up, and I had to go through those bumps and bruises. And when I tell people that, it literally, like, you could see the weight come off of them, because when you're talking or having a financial conversation, there's always a wall up. Even if they came to you for help, there's still a wall up, because they might
want to give you the personal. If someone don't want to give you the personal information.
They want you to help them with this, but not with that. Or help you with that, but not with this. But it all works together for your good or not. And so, you know, when you start digging, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to tell her that. Or it comes time to, you know, do a transaction, right? Because Dr. Sherwood, and I know y'all know her, she said transformation comes with a transaction. So when it's time for a person to swipe the card or give you your banking account information to do the thing that they said that they wanted to do, then you get all the, well, let me talk to my husband first. And my calendar, let me get on your calendar for next week. And all they're really saying is, I'm having an issue right now.
Exactly.
But they don't want to tell you that because they think you're going to judge them. Sis, I'm not judging you. I've been right there where you are. And if I had to save to be able to do this transaction, well, that's what I'm going to do. So me being transparent out the gate allows them to be like, oh, shoot, I could tell her that. Listen, I don't get paid till next week. Can we do it next week? Okay, cool. We can post-date the situation. But at the end of the day, I can't help you if you're not going to be real.
Authenticity.
But then at the same time, y'all, even if I do give you the money, I got to do the work. Because some people be quick to give the money. And then you be like, did you do the homework? Did you do this assignment? Did you do this, what I asked you to do? If you didn't do that, then why are you paying me? And then some people like, look, let me just give you your money back.
Yes.
Because what good does it serve me? Because look, you can't even give me a testimony because you ain't even doing the work.
Right. I feel like a coach, girl. I feel like a stylist sometimes, and I'm like, girl, I gotta get let me tell you what happened with me and my husband, and I'm just like, okay, and I'm like, but did you do what I told you? And it's so funny that you said that. Let me tell you, I had a client this week. I went in and went through all the stuff, and I noticed that she added a new account to her credit. Because I do Zoom call meetings with my clients. See, that's how transparent it is.
Right.
And so I went in and I said, I know the last time we spoke, because I see my notes and I know I sent you a copy of the notes. I said, it clearly states you cannot open up any new accounts. I said, but I see a new account. See a new inquiry. She's like, well, I said, stop right there. Stop. So in other words, I have to really work hard to dispel what she thinks, because in her mind, her ways of escape, I'm gonna just go get a quick loan. I'm gonna go get a payday loan. I have to work through all of that. See, if people think it's easy, it's not that easy. And so you really got to say, look, I get it. I understand, but this is going to cause harm to you if I'm doing this and you're doing that.
Right.
We have to collaborate with each other. So I trust me, I know your world, girl. I'm just like, bless you.
Yeah. Yes, I liken myself to a financial therapist because, like you said, a lot of times you have to get people out of their own way in their own head.
Yes.
We all have a money story. We all have a money story, how we grew up or what we experienced as young adults, or maybe we've gone through a divorce. Whatever the situation is, it begins to be what you now believe about money. Right. It begins to be the behaviors that we see on the bank account or reflected in the credit report. Like people just think, oh, fix my credit. But there was a reason why it got like this in the first place. And some of it is related to your habits and behaviors and your thought processes. But sometimes it's outside of your control, like the pandemic, right? Pandemic happened, started taking people's incomes, started, people who normally had face-to-face opportunities and weren't able to pivot to the virtual space. Maybe they lost some money for a while, so they figured it out. Sometimes stuff is not absolutely your fault, but you have to be clear about it. Right. And so that's what I tell people all the time. Financial clarity is knowing your numbers, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Knowing your numbers, your cash flow, right? What you have coming in, going out, and what's left over, your cash flow. Knowing your debt to income ratio, right? Are you maxed out on your credit limits or on your finances? Knowing your net worth, knowing your credit scores. Like these are like the basics of the financial position that you have to be clear about. And just knowing that if it's not in the most optimal status, right? You're not happy with those numbers. You get the opportunity to change it. Like Amara said, you've got to do the work in order to say, hey, this time next year, this credit score will be X, Y.
Because I did the work.
Next
I did the work. You told me I'm going by exactly what I'm paying you to do. I'm paying for you to guide me. I'm praying for you to, this is your, and I tell people all the time, this is your lane of expertise, not mine. Because I'm here because I'm jacking everything up.
Right.
So if I'm jacking it all up, and I say, look, I'm going to pay you to get me straight. So what do we need to do to get this process started? So let me ask you a question. What does it look like with me being a new client coming on board with you? What does that look like?
Well, first we do a discovery call, and in that call is where I find out all the juicy stuff. I find out all the juicy stuff because I'm able to find out not just their goals and, the things that they want to happen, but I also get to find out, who they are, how they arrived in this place. And I ask them this very specific, important question. I ask them, what do you want? Now I joke about it and I say, unless we pulling up to somebody's drive-through, nobody cares what we want. They don't care. But I do, because it lets me know where we can go with this relationship. Right. And I say, it doesn't matter how we're going to get there. I don't, because, women, we like, well, I can't tell her this because that's going to be too hard. And I can't tell her that. I didn't ask you to figure it out. I just asked you to tell me what you want.
Exactly.
Right.
And then I actually had people say, they sit there like, Well, because nobody asks us what we want. We're so busy being the superhero with the cape and
That's right.
sacrificial and, sliding ourselves. And it's
Right.
like, it takes a minute. But some people know exactly what they want. And so when I tell them, don't figure out how to get there, just tell me what you want. And they tell me what they want. And then I say, well, what do you feel like you? Because I don't know you that well sometimes. I don't know you. But what do you
Right.
feel like is the thing that prevented you from that exact thing? So now you got to do some self-assessment. You got to be aware and you got to tell the truth. Now, if
Yes.
you don't,
Right.
and if you
Right.
don't know, right? Maybe that's
Right.
the homework. Because
Right.
again, like Leslie said, if you don't figure out how you got here,
Yeah.
you're gonna repeat it, right?
That's
So
right.
I want to know, what was the thing or things that prevented you from these 3 things you said you wanted? And
Yeah.
oftentimes they can verbalize that, oh, I didn't know anything about money. I just messed up my credit, or whatever they say is the
Right.
situation. Then when I start saying, okay, here's how we're going to fix this. Here's how we're going to step it all out. And I
Right.
gave them, steps 1, 2, and 3, but we're doing it together, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you said that. I'm not just going to say, here's a list of stuff you do, come back to me in 2 months. No, we're doing this together.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I see you in a couple of weeks or next month or whatever, the progress that has to be made is the work. Right?
Yes.
It is the work.
Yes.
And so rather it's the mental that needs to shift, if it's the financial literacy that needs to shift,
Yeah.
if it's the current situation, whatever that is,
Right.
that needs to shift, that is the stuff that's preventing you from being financially independent.
That's
Right.
right.
It's a word
Right.
called financial well-being, which is comprised of your situation,
That's
financial
right.
literacy, and your habits, beliefs, and your capacity with money.
That's
So
right.
it's a process to getting where you need to be. But I'm not
Right.
just going to push you out there and be like, get it done and come back to me. No,
Mm-mm.
do
No.
it together. And I've
Right.
actually had some people, they inbox me, they post on social media, be like, oh, my credit score went up 105 points since I've been working. But they be super excited. They can't keep it to themselves. So much so that one of the clients was like, how do I become a credit repair person? I was like, she didn't say, I'm going to refer everybody I know to you. She like, I want to get in the game. Like,
Right.
I get to help people. And I told her she could do it. Like, I'm not a hater.
Yeah. Oh
It's plenty of, look, y'all, it's everybody can, like I said, everybody's different in personality.
no.
We
Right.
can do the same line of business. We can position it similar as well, but
Yep.
we're all three different. We
Right.
all have different directions, different, like our mojo is different. You
Right.
may do it one way, I do it another.
Right.
But we attract different clientele as well.
Yep.
So that's what
Right.
makes us different. People always think, oh, I can't do nothing with her because she do the same thing I do. So what?
Yeah.
But we can work
no.
together as a team.
I collaborate with all my cohorts that do credit repair, because
Yep.
the funny thing is that we all come to the table and say, well, what are you doing that's working? And I'm like, well,
See?
let me tell you what I tried. Let me tell you, there's over 61 million people who have bad credit. I can't handle all 61. So I think there's enough room to go around where we all can share the wealth. But I think in that, I think we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. I don't see my business as just a business, it's a ministry. Because what happens is the information that Dr. Mason has, that I have, can free your family. I mean, literally free your family. It'll totally change your life. And if you don't come into it saying, hey, I know I need to shift gears, then I can't do anything about that. People ask me all the time, they're like, well, why you don't post a whole lot about different products and stuff online in Facebook? The danger in that is, if I give you that and you don't know how to use it, then you're going to come back and say that I did it because you failed to get the understanding behind it. I can't just put it in your hand, put the gun in your hand and tell you go. I at least need to show you how to use it. So that is one of the reasons why you won't catch me doing that. I have consultations with clients so that I can say, hey, look, this is a product you can use, but let me show you how you use it. Because the danger in just giving it to them, girl, everybody can't handle the power.
So true.
They
Very
can't.
true.
I mean, I tell y'all the one thing I don't see a lot of, and y'all tell me what y'all think, is being in college. Okay, we handle a lot of adults, but what I'm thinking about, because my daughter's in college right now. When they graduate, I'm looking for individuals like you all who partner with college students that are graduating, that have no financial literacy. Because I was the first one where they used to. They don't do this no more because they banned this, where the credit card companies will come to the college campuses and set up the tables. They can't do that no more. That's illegal. Can't do that no more. But they would set them up, and I got my first Discover card, and that's when I first went into debt. And so, but being a new student, I was 18 years old, first credit card, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I did not know that I had to pay back the money.
Yeah.
How many of us can be that honest and say that? I did, and people like, girl, you 18 and you didn't know what a piece of plastic can do? Like, that's not your money. But in my mind, I didn't know. I thought, because they're going to explain it to you at the table. Then they're going to tell you, okay, this is your percentage, how much you got to pay back per month. No, they're like, here, fill out this application so I can get my point for the month.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I literally, y'all, was letting bills accumulate. I didn't know what these bills. I was like, what is this?
Right.
Am I supposed to be paying this? Since ain't working no job, I'm in college. I was like,
but
so
you know what? That's
what do we do about the college
24.
kids that are getting caught up,
right?
And not having the being educated on financial literacy, because we're trying to teach them in school. Elementary schools now, we're trying to teach financial literacy there now, because that's a big thing that's going on now, especially in North Carolina. They're doing a lot of that now. But what do we do about the ones that gone on in college? Now I got $60,000 worth of debt. How do I pay it off? What does that look like? How am I'm getting a job, but I got the deferment. I'm calling Dr. Mason like, what do I do? Because I don't know what to do. How do we reach those individuals before they get far gone?
Yeah, I mean, I will say in the home first, right? And so it's up to us before our kids even get out into the world to, one, either model it before them. And if we don't know anything about money, that means we have to personally and professionally develop ourselves, and then put our kids in opportunities where they can learn just as we're learning. So if I'm having a financial consultation with Leslie, bring my daughter or my son in here. If we're not ashamed. Right. And that's the thing. Shame will keep a lot of people stuck.
Right.
Including the relationship between parents and children. Because they say kids need to stay in a child's place. And that's what I was told when I was growing up.
That's old school. That don't even exist anymore.
Listen, bring them to the table so that they can get the literacy from Leslie or from me or whatever. And then say, hey, I made some mistakes, right? But I'm cleaning it up. We got to be real with our kids. Because one day they're going to get out here and, like you said, mess up their situation. Even me, I got finger hut accounts. I'm dating myself. I got finger hut accounts. I would go to like the little rental places where you get to own situations. I would skip cell phone carriers when a new phone came out, and I didn't know that I had a balance on that rented device, and they would put that thing on my credit. You know what I mean? But then now I got to clean up my credit at 19 years old or at 20 years old, and don't even know how to do it.
Yes.
Right? So you come in a house with a new cell phone, like, how you get this new cell phone? Oh, I just went off. Wait, you with T-Mobile? No, I ain't with T-Mobile no more. Now you got this big bill, right? You know, and so these are things that these kids don't, they just want the new hotness. They don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, we have to be the model before them. That's and I would love, to be able to get in certain spaces. I do a lot of talks at churches. I do a lot of women's empowerment talks, but I would have no problem going to colleges or anything like that, because I love to break stuff down in layman's terms. That's, I think, one of the strong suits that I have is taking complex financial topics and making them real and relevant, and adding stories and gaming so that it makes a lot of sense and it's fun. But once they grab hold to it, you taught them a life skill that they will never, ever, ever be without.
That's right. That's right. And it's unfortunate, but right now there are only 24 states that require financial literacy to graduate.
Now, that's sad.
50. 24.
That's sad.
So, when you think about that, there's so much territory to tap into, because that's where we need to get them. We don't need to catch them in college. We need to catch them before that and really give them practical advice. And like you said, Dr. Mason, we have to get out of the habit as parents. Yeah, we don't want our kids in the gushy part of the relationship, but we definitely need to have them in the room for financial literacy conversations. You know, once upon a time it was, let me show you how to write a checkout. No, we are way beyond that now. Let me show you how to budget and how to work that out. And so now I hear my daughter regurgitate what I'm saying to my clients. She's telling that to her friends. Well, you know what? You need to be an authorized user on your mom's credit cards. And I'm like, you get it, girl. You better say that like you listening to your mama.
Yeah.
But I love
we did it for our kids, so they were able to see how the benefit was. I'll give you an example. My son, who's 21 right now, when we put him as an authorized user on my daughter's credit cards, she had discovered when she was in college and all that kind of stuff. We put him on some of our cards. He was like 16 at the time. When he graduated at 19, because his birthday was a little late, he graduated at 19. He had literally, he was in a dual enrollment program. So he was able to get his high school diploma and his auto technician certification from the community college at the same time. And we had taken him on interviews and all this kind of stuff just before he was going to graduate. This little boy graduated on a Wednesday, got hired at Toyota the next Monday. He already had good credit because we had him riding alongside for like what, 3 years or whatever it was. So when he was going to his new job, he said, Mom, I don't want you driving me, picking me up every day and taking me and da da da. He was like, Can I see if I can get a car? I said, okay. So while he was at work, I went online, and you know how you do the pre-authorization. I went to see if he could get approved. He got approved for like a $20,000, car or whatever. So he knew I was doing this while he was at work. He just so happened to mention that he wanted a car. So I put in his name, his social, everything. It was all his data, right? He come out of work. I'm like, yeah, let's go up there and get a car. He like, get a car? I'm like, yep, your own name, with your own money, with your own insurance. Let's go. And sure enough, we went up to that Toyota dealership. Car in 2019, and he's already paid nearly $10,000 on that car. All from his credit and his paycheck and his car insurance, all of that. He is so like independent to be a 21-year-old kid. Like, he don't ask us for nothing.
You did good.
We give him the 4 walls. He still live here, but he pays his own bills. He pay his own food. You barely know he in here because he's a gamer. but my thing is, we let him be an authorized user so that when he wanted to do something, he didn't need me to co-sign. He put all of it in his name. Exactly. And he got credit cards. He got all kind of stuff, and he pay his bills.
Let me tell you, that's it. I mean, that's you know what, this is like heaven just hearing that conversation, because I wish everyone would do that with their children. I mean, because the problem is these people that go out and they co-sign and they do all of that kind of stuff. The best gift you can give your children is not to be a co-signer, but for you empower them along the way.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you want them to be independent. You want them to be independent and not be and you don't become a dependent. Because that's what a lot of people don't realize is we as parents, we can become dependents and not even think about it. From the standpoint is I'm enabling them to do this.
No codependency over here, honey.
See, I'm enabling you to do that. And then I can't even put my foot down because I've been doing it so long. Now I'm trying to tell you, I can't. I need you to be a grown man now. I need you to be grown, stay on your own 2 feet.
Right. And he's like, how? How am I supposed to do that?
You didn't train him. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to be home forever. He's never going to leave.
Exactly.
No, this little boy, he's independent. He pays his bills. He got a little money left over every month. Like, I'd be so proud of him.
See, because you're doing everything you need to do. But the thing about it is, pretty much tell everybody how they can connect with you and schedule that discovery call. Because I know somebody out here need it. I know somebody needs that discovery call.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. So I'm all over social media at C. Craig Mason on all your platforms. My website, conciergefg.com, where you can schedule. I have a scheduling link on there. It doesn't cost you anything to just do an appointment. But I love meeting new people and just hearing about the journey that you're on. Everybody has something that they want to work on. And usually it refers to money in some way, right? So you want to start a business, you want to buy a house, whatever your goals are, some money is tied to it. And you're either going to get there slowly but surely, but steadily, or you're just going to keep putting it off. And so I love to be able to share the possibilities with the work that they have to do. But just go alongside and make sure that they have somebody who can hold them accountable.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Love
good.
it.
That's what you want. You want to be successful financially in business, but
Yeah.
also be successful financially, personally.
Mhm.
Because if you can't manage personally, you can't manage business.
So true.
So, and
No.
it carries over. People think, oh, it's separated. No, money, money.
Yep.
Money, money. If you can't manage the personal, you can't manage the business. So people
Exactly.
have to understand it. And if you can't figure it out, or you now running down that rabbit hole, you need to connect with Dr. Mason. You better call her. You better connect.
See
Send her a
Craig
message.
Mason.
Say, I need you. I need you now. So, but as always, you all, good things always have to come to an end. We done sit here and talk. It was so good tonight. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. You got to be transparent about your business. You
Yeah.
know, finances can't be hush hush. You got to be able to have that conversation with the individual that you hired. That's right, I say
Right.
that you're paying a service to do a job, and you have to be a willing participant.
Right.
So I thank you all for being a part of the Girlfriends Chit Chat show tonight. Thank you, Dr. Mason, for being with
Thanks,
us.
Dr. Mason.
And as
You're
always, you all
welcome.
have a fabulous weekend. And we'll see you again next Friday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you all have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.